G'day everybody and welcome to another YouTube video review. Today we're going to be having a look at the Vintage Collection X-Wing. This is the Luke Skywalker. Came out a couple of months ago here in Australia and finally was able to hold out until I thought it was a reasonable price. It was very, I thought, highly priced when you compare it to the other sort of vehicles that we've had come out over the years. It's almost like they decided, you know what, we'll stick the word vintage on it and we'll up the price a bit. But anyway, was able to find it for a great price. And I must admit, I'm a little disappointed. I'm glad I didn't pay the full price for it. It's not as sturdy as I would have liked for when you're putting out that much money for what you class as a vintage collection. Yes, it's got the look, it's got the style and the feel and the nostalgia, but it really is a little bit flimsy. You can see straight away it sort of just wobbles. I know that's for the X-Wing compactor, but you don't even have the wings, you know, in a nice tight position there. This front nose piece here, which clips in, you don't have a nice sort of seam. It just looks like it's chunked on and can fall off at any time. And you really do need to keep pushing it. You'll notice it's falling backwards. The landing gear quite easily slides back. So, you know, when you're trying to stand it out, I'll just try and pull the leg back out. They don't really lock into positions, so a little bit of a push back, and next thing you know, your landing gear disappears. But let's have a look at what we've got anyway. So it does come with landing gear feature, as you can see here. It's got a nice little tab there, just so you can get your finger in there to pull them down. But as I said, they slide back very easily and just tack back in under there. Moving up, we do have a front landing gear, and we'll just push him up, and then it has a nice little concealment bay there, which is rather nice. Then we have, well, someone decided to mechanize or weaponize this vehicle, and you have a projectile missile there, which does sort of just rotate back in and under, and then you can spin it back out, and then it does have a firing mechanism there, just the button there. But if you do notice, it's very close to the actual nose of the gun, and I must admit, when I've fired it a couple of times, it does sort of hit the top part here. It just doesn't sit flush, so it's not the greatest firing mechanism. So we'll spin it back, and as you can see here, it's very flimsy. But anyway, we'll keep pressing ahead. So we'll get to the cockpit. There is a lot of detail in here, which is really nice. It's nice too that they've actually built it so that you can remove this to get your figure in, and then you can position them around the flight joystick. As you can see there, nice detail in the actual panel, and just slots in to the 4 squares, or the 4 little pegs. Then the other feature here is we have the sort of tracking missile viewer that you can have Luke, or in my case, I have Rey, to recreate the scene where she's flying back to Exegol. But yeah, it's not too bad. As I said, it's nice and sturdy in the cockpit, lots of space in there, so you can fit the figure in quite easily. To get the X-Wing foil, so it says the detail there, sorry, so this is where you can put your droid. So here's my vintage R2-D2. So slots in there quite nicely. And it does fit the current sort of version of the figure as well. You can throw another astromech in there if you wanted to, but I just throw in my classic R2. Being vintage, we might as well keep it vintage. Now the X-Wing feature is just here. There's no button where you can push, or there's no sounds or anything. It's just basically what you do is prop it up on its nose. Sorry to do, it's rather one-handed. And you push down and then slide it across, and you get the X-Wing feature. If we can pull it back and you can have a look. It's not great, which, as I said, a little disappointing, and I'm glad I didn't pay the asking price when it first shipped out, because it really is just, I don't know, maybe mine's defective, but really was expecting more for the vintage collection. And I'll just pop it back down to get it back out of its function. Just push it in and sideways. Now, as I said, you can pop the figures in there, so it does fit your 2 figures. So here's R2. We'll put R2 back in. And in he goes. And then we have Ray here. So as I said, to fit your figure in, quite simple. You just pop out this little piece. Straighten Ray's head up. I'm going to focus there. So there's Ray. Slide her in. Position her how you want her to be positioned. And then you can just pop that back on. Shut the cockpit. And you are good to go to take on whatever the galaxy throws at you. But as I said, you can see there again, the foils. One side's nicely closed. The other one is loose. So anybody got any tips to tighten that up, that would be awesome and much appreciated. But anyway, the detail's really nice. It really is a nice figure and or ship, and it's going to look good on a shelf in any battle scenes or poses that you want to have. But I must admit, when I compare it to, you might have to go through, but I've done another video on that little bad boy there, that X-Wing from many moons ago. But that one was really great. It does have lights and sounds. Can't remove the figures, but I must admit, if I had to compare and choose between the two, I'd definitely be going for that one. But anyway, thanks for watching. Keep subscribing. If you've got it in your collection, you've got a better version than me. Lucky you. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. Because I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed when I picked up that bad boy out of the vintage collection. I thought, wow, we're back on to getting some vehicles back out of the series. But now it's sort of gone a little bit downhill. But anyway, we'll wait and see if it continues to improve, or if we continue to see more other than Mandalorian stuff coming through. But anyway, thanks for watching. Keep subscribing as usual. If there's anything in the room here that I haven't yet got to doing a review on, or you can't find in the channel, do have a quick look. But if there's anything here, I'll do my best to try and get around to doing a review. But anyway, look after yourself. Stay COVID free. Stay away from the coronavirus. Look after yourself. Wash your hands. And stay good. Cheers.